Good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you may be, or good evening, or good night. This is Jen at JensArtyInclinations, a place to create, share, and play.
Hello, hello, hello. I've missed everybody. It's been such a busy, last 30 days, really. I almost missed October entirely, but look, here I am. I'm back. We moved the house around a little bit, so then I didn't have access to my little craft space for a little while and, other family stuff. So I thought, look, I'm just going to make some really simple paper clips. So that's what I'm doing today. Here I've got a little scrap piece of paper. I just rounded the corners off and I did a little tail end in that long thin piece and I just glue them together over a paper clip. Just such an easy way to do it. So look, I just thought you could come along for the ride while I just make a few little cutesy paper clips to have some in my stash. Now these are the edges of pages when I tear them off, or pictures or anything like that, and I'll often throw them through the sewing machine to get a bit of thread on them, or I'll ruffle them up. I'll do all kinds of things with these page edges, and it's just great to have something to grab quickly, and they make easy peasy decorations for these. So this first one, really simple. I've just done these as little paperclip flags, I think is what people generally call them. And that's where you can still see the paper clip, but you've got like this little flag bit under it. Now there you go. Add some numbers. I think that's one of Tracy Fox's, or it might be Which Craft Do You Do? It'll be one of those. And voila, it clips onto a paper clip. So then you can clip another piece of paper onto the page. You can actually use these in your offices if you want to be really fancy schmancy. So the next one, what I did was, instead of leaving the background blank, I decided that I would just put a bit of stamping over it. I love this little checker stamp. I use it heaps of times. It just seems to feel groovy, like I meant to do it that way. And of course, I'm inking around all the edges. I just like that because I think it pulls everything together for this kind of a project. But of course, however you do yours, you do not need to do that. So on this one, I've done a little bit of fabric, as you can see, and then a little bit of lace, I thought. And I faffed around and I found this little number that I had just stamped onto a page edge. Wasn't what I wanted for the time, so I just chucked it in my numbers stash that I have. And then I just kind of dot glue, sometimes on the lace. I mean, sometimes I smush it across, but it all works fairly well. I'm just using the all-purpose glue that I've got here. And then, yep, there it goes. I love that bit of fabric too. They're off long spools that I get. Again, see, I'm just guiding that all carefully through the paper clip. I just put it on that long edge so that it's got lots of room to put in. But yeah, I get those long spools of fabric, and they're sari ribbon or they're hand-dyed cloth that are in lovely long strips. And gosh, they're useful. And I get them across from gorgeous Kerry Renee and Mum over at their mum, not mine. And it would be a feat for my mother since she died quite a few years ago now. So that would be impressive if she was doing up spools of fabric. But yes, they do these wonderful different pieces. So they've got different colours and oftentimes hand-dyed cloth. And I always keep a stash of those ones that they actually do. Now see, here's a ruffled piece I've done with the edges of pages. So I've got, some paper bag in there, or it's probably packaging, along with some page edges, just running the sewing machine across it. And I've sort of thinned out the back of these, but still it was a little bit thick. And you know how sometimes your packaging paper, it's not exactly shiny, but it might be a bit waxed or something. So I used double-sided tape for this one instead. Oh, there you go. I've even got some music page in that particular one. So then I had that lovely big one. I'm sure that was Which Craft Do You Do? Might have been one of their freebies that they give us. They partner with my friend's Facebook group, which is called Playing with Paper and Glue. And Which Craft Do You Do? They partner with Lynn and they give us freebies each month. They have like for the last 6 months, and I think that they'll continue to do it next year. And they're so much fun. But yeah, it's really nice just to have something fresh each month to play with. I'm really enjoying that. All right, here that was a chapter, the XX, Roman numerals. That was a chapter number in a book that I had. And the other bit was, the cut edge. Just a few little cut edge pieces that were interesting, some little tiny, teeny little mini labels that I'd printed. So I just did this little flag as a really simple collage one. So look, they're all the same principle, but they are just ever so slightly different to each of them. But you could do a series of each one of these individually, and you'd still find, like you could say, okay, I'm going to do a piece of fabric, a piece of paper, and a piece of cloth for every single one with a number on top, and they would all still look slightly different to each other. So yeah, slightly different styles. Now, this one I thought I'd have a go. I just liked this edge piece of paper. The camera, I don't think, does it justice. And it was off some jelly printing that I was doing. And I just liked the look of it. So I thought I'd have a go at putting it on as if it was a ribbon, even though it's a piece of paper. And I did glue it, but then I'm sewing a button over it. So again, I just thought that was quite cute. I'm knotting the button in. It's just a simple reef knot. Right over left and under, left over right and under. Holds nice and securely. You could put a dab of glue here at the point and knot the second piece down onto the glue if you want it to be extra secure, but this knot holds beautifully. So there you go. That was the next one. I've lost track of how many we've done now. Have we done 3? Have we done 4? Have we done 20? Who knows? You'll be able to tell me. You're all probably screaming at the screen going, Jen, you should know that. It's this. It's blah, blah. But anyway, or is that just me that does that and talks to the screen even though I know that you can't hear me? But next one, very similar again. I thought I'd do the fabric with the lace this time. And what did I do? I actually did a piece of paper behind that lace just to give it a little bit of structure and then threaded the button through. On the last one, I just played about a bit, I just mucked about, wanted a little pop of colour on this. I don't like it when I love my browns. I really, really do. But you do need to work out how to add pops of colour. So if you look back at vintage things, even though they're all aged and often with browns and neutrals, if you have a look, there are also those real vintage greens, those vintage blues. There was lots of colour. So oftentimes you'll need just a pop of colour. And sometimes when I look back through my journals, I realise it's all too neutral. And so I actually have to go back in and find ways to add colour. I must do a video on that because that's something that I often, trap myself with, and it's something that maybe others trap you with. And I could show you some of the little tricky ways that I've worked out to just add colour in. So yeah, let me know if that's something you're interested in. I'll probably do it anyway. So anyway, this is the little final piece that I did. So it was mostly fabric with a little label on top, and again I just popped a button through that I knotted in. Now you didn't see me, I did still glue it together because I did find that easier, and it does make it just sit on the paperclip a little bit better. But there you go. That's all of our paper clips. So how many did we do? We did 1, 2, 3. How funny that 3 ends up the third one I put down. Did you notice that? 4, 5, 6, 7. No, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No. I can count. I promise. Okay, yes, 8. So we've done 8 altogether. But there you go. Go forth and have some fun playing with some little flags, and tag me if you do some of your own. I'd love to see how you do them. Everybody does these sorts of things slightly differently, and we all come up with different results, and it's so good to share. I'd love it if you could leave me a comment below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed what you saw today. And of course, please subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you next time. And in the meantime, keep creating. Enjoy!